Right now, in this moment, I'm going to tell you to actually unlearn everything you've learned and to stop being so nice. And rather than being nice, actually be a good person instead. A lot of people don't understand what I mean by when I say be a good person instead. So I'm going to break it down in this video quickly for you to understand. I want to ask you a simple question. Why do you think that nice people deserve bad things? Because nice people actually believe they deserve bad things. Now, obviously, I could go into spirituality and talking about manifestation and how God and the universe and stuff like that, but it's a simple principle. Whatever you believe you deserve, to whatever degree, you get. If you believe you're worthy of success, you get success. If you believe you're worthy of failing, you get failure. If you believe you're worthy of happiness, you get happiness. Whatever you believe you deserve, to whatever degree, you obtain. Okay, so then what's the problem with nice people? Why is it that nice people always go through bad things? Think about someone in your life right now that is very, very kind, very, very nice, very, very nurturing, and they wouldn't even hurt a fly. However, for some reason, they find themselves in the worst situation. They're always mixed up with the worst kind of people. Things ain't going their way. They're struggling either financially, physically, mentally, in some way, some shape or form. The people who seem like angels are living in hell. How is that actually possible? Well, it all comes down to what I said. It's what you believe you deserve. Whatever you believe you deserve, to whatever degree, is what you get. For example, there's a difference between nice and good. Now, before I continue, I wrote this book called The Power in Saying No, which actually teaches people how to stop falling for the notions of lies, kind, etc., and actually how to reject people. Because one of the biggest issues that humanity will always struggle with is learning how to say no. Peer pressure is a very, very real thing. And just to demonstrate, I'm gonna give an example. So let's say, for example, you're going out to a party, okay? You and your friends, you're chilling, etc. And all of a sudden, you're all sitting around a table. Now, one of your friends offers to start a game about drinking. You have boundaries, okay? And you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't participate in any of that. But you like your friends. They're good people, I guess, to whatever degree you want to say. They're kind people, you like them, you've been with them for a long time. So the idea of cutting them off doesn't necessarily make sense. In fact, it's probably upsetting to even think about that. So what you do, you don't obviously say no, because you're actually incapable of saying no. You're afraid to say no because you feel like you're going to disrespect or ruin things. So you participate in the activity. Now, initially, you let everyone know that, oh, I don't want to drink, until everyone around you turns around and says, oh, look at this guy, he's being such a sore loser. Oh, you're killing the vibe. Oh, bro, it's just one night. Oh, bro, just do this, just do that. The people who are afraid to say no, the nice people, will submit. They will fall and they will concede, and then they will actually breach their own boundaries in order to respect others. But let me ask you a question. Is it truly respect if it comes at the service of you disrespecting yourself? Self-respect is deemed as disrespect to people who don't have any. So, if you're going around and you have your boundaries and you have the things that you want to do, the people around you who aren't on the same wavelength will never be able to understand or appreciate your boundaries to whatever degree you think possible. So why do nice people always go under fire? Why is it that nice people always find themselves in the most unfortunate positions? Because they believe, and they've been subconsciously being taught to believe, that they are deserving of whatever happens to them. For example, have you ever had a conversation with a nice person and the first thing they say is like, oh yeah, when bad things happen to me because I'm a nice person and God is using me to mediate. God didn't give you that responsibility. You gave that responsibility yourself. God wants humanity to live, to enjoy, to have fun, to go out and do the things that you want to do. So when you try to take on a responsibility, when you're trying to fight the wars that no one started, then you're really the problem. But now, I'm not saying it's bad to be a nice person. But however, I am trying to make the distinction between being nice and actually being good, because people are tend to typically associate being nice as a virtue. If you think you're being nice as a virtue, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be willingly nice to the point where I will throw myself under the bus, it doesn't matter who comes, to the point where you're disrespecting yourself, you're laughing at yourself, you're throwing yourself under to make others feel better. That isn't any type of respect. That's disrespect. You are disrespecting yourself and trying to say it's respect. Stop saying you're nice. You're being stupid. So obviously I've talked about being nice, and once again I want to reinforce this. There is no problem in being nice. The power in saying no goes over a section, and let me read it for you real quick. This is the first law, Law 1, F no. Nice people don't get what they want, they get what they're given. Consider for a moment what I just said there. Nice people don't get what they want, they get what they're given. And the reason why they get what they're given is because they believe they deserve whatever is given to them. if they don't get success, they believe that, maybe I'll get successful, maybe I'm unlucky. People think that's what they deserve. So that's whatever you think you deserve is what you will get. A good person has boundaries. A good person knows when to say no. A good person knows the difference between self-respect, respecting others, and disrespect. A respect goes both ways. If you're respecting someone, you're also getting respect back. For example, if I have someone I respect, someone I want to talk to, I have a level of self-respect for myself that I won't actually throw myself under the bus. If you think that idolizing another person or throwing a person on another pedestal is a form of respect, my friend, you are worshipping another person. That isn't respect. That is worshipping. There's a clear difference. Now, good people always have this thing about them that they're able to understand and navigate how they can say no, how they can, tolerate things, how they won't tolerate things. They'll be able to set boundaries and make a nice little box for themselves that no one can cross. And for this example, let me give you two people, a nice person and a good person. So you're walking down a road and you're just observing, things. In the distance, you see two people talking. The first person who's talking is person A. Person A is a nice person. Person A is talking to a person who had a bad day. This person is rude, disrespectful. Cool. As you're walking past them, you just observe their interaction quickly. Person B the mean person, starts to get aggressive, starts to get angry, starts to get agitated, okay? The nice person, person A, tries to calm down, say, oh, I'm so sorry, Even though person A did nothing to warrant the mean person's behavior, they just had a bad day, what the mean person is doing, they're just really expressing and exuding all their anger, all their frustration onto person A, which is the nice person. And person A, being a nice person and the virtues they carry and the beliefs they hold, they think that this is what they deserve. They think that, my purpose is really just to make sure I get, they think that bad things are supposed to happen to them because they're nice. So what happens? They get into an altercation and the mean person ends up injuring person A. As you walk past, you think, why didn't person A just defend himself? There's nothing wrong with him just, walking away, setting boundaries and saying no. But if the nice person is going to come and say, oh, this deserves to happen to me, well, you're cooked. Now, the same way you walk past, that nice person, you walk a bit further down and you see the exact same thing happen. But now we have person B and another angry person. Person B is a good person. Now, as you're walking past, you're wondering what's going to happen this time? Because with the nice person, the mean person got angry, hit them, attacked them, etc. So I wonder what's going to happen now. As you walk past them, you observe something very, very strange. Person B tells the mean person or the angry person that I understand if you're upset, but if you cross their boundary, there will be consequences. Even though there isn't any type of altercation, you can tell by the person B's demeanor that they have so much self-respect for themselves that they won't allow things to escalate or they won't allow them to get pushed around. Now, they're not being disrespectful. They're not telling the mean person or the angry person to F off, or they're not being aggressive. They're literally just stating their boundaries. They're saying that there's a line, don't cross it. There's respect and there's disrespect. Don't go through the latter. So, as you walk past, even though the mean person is getting more and more angry, the good person continues to reinforce their statement that I have boundaries, you will not do this, I don't care whether you're upset, I'm not going to tolerate that. The person B actually walks away. As you observe that interaction, you think to yourself, why didn't person A do that? Well, it's because it all comes down to what you believe you deserve. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't be a kind person, don't be a nice person. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can't be nice, I'm not saying you can't be loving, I'm not saying you can't be nurturing, I'm not saying you can't be, good. But I am saying, do not lose sight of yourself. Do not treat others to the standard that you wouldn't even treat yourself. And do not allow others to treat you the same way you wouldn't treat yourself. However, the only thing that's flawed about that statement is that if you believe you are deserving of bad things happening to you, well, you're going to allow people to treat you any way they want. So stop allowing people to treat you any way they want. Stop allowing people to walk all over you, because the problem you're going to have quickly is that anyone can say anything to you, and you're always going to have this inner frustration, and you're always going to ask yourself this one question for the remaining years of your life: why didn't I just say no? You're going to be that person A who got slapped or who got attacked, and wonder for the rest of your life, why didn't I just stick up for myself? These are subconscious things that build up in your mind and actually mess up the things you want to go going on. If you have a business, it could ruin your self-confidence. If you have a family, it could make you think that you're not capable of actually protecting things. It all comes down to the way you treat yourself. Once again, I've written this book called The Power in Saying No. I've been teaching people how to say no, not in disrespectful ways, but actually letting other people know that, yo, I have boundaries. It is available on Amazon and on TikTok Shop. Go ahead and get yourself a copy.